Laura Elizabeth Loomer, born May 21, 1993, is an American far-right political activist, conspiracy theorist, and Internet personality. She was the Republican nominee to represent Florida's 21st congressional district in the 2020 United States House of Representatives elections, losing to Democrat Lois Frankel. She also ran in the Republican primary for Florida's 11th congressional district in 2022, losing to incumbent Daniel Webster. She has described herself as pro-white nationalist and a proud Islamophobe. Loomer has worked as an activist for several organizations, including Project Veritas, The Geller Report, Rebel News, and InfoWars. Loomer gained notoriety as a result of being banned from numerous social media platforms including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, payment processors, vehicles for hire, and food delivery mobile apps for various reasons, including violating policies on hate speech and posting misinformation. Loomer has also been banned and removed from events, and had press credentials revoked, for harassment and causing disturbances. Donald Trump sought to hire Loomer to his presidential campaign in April 2023, though his senior campaign advisors strongly discouraged it. Staunch Trump supporter Marjorie Taylor Greene characterized Loomer as a documented liar. By September 2024, some Trump supporters and others expressed concerns about Loomer's continuing presence around and influence on Trump. Early life. Loomer and her two brothers were raised in Arizona. She attended Mount Holyoke College, leaving after one semester. She said she felt targeted for being conservative. She transferred to Barry University in Miami Shores, Florida, and graduated in 2015 with a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism. Loomer is Jewish. Activities. 2015 to 2017. In March 2015, Loomer used a concealed video camera to record her conversations with Barry University officials, discussing the idea of starting a club called Sympathetic Students in support of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. The school apparently asked only that the club's name be changed to Students in Support of the Middle East. James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, a right-wing organization known for producing secretly recorded and deceptively edited undercover audio and video investigations about media organizations and left-leaning groups, released the video of the encounter, alleging that it captured a university official unfazed by the idea of an on-campus organization to support ISIS. Shortly thereafter, the university suspended Loomer for violating the student code of conduct, and a professor shown in the video filed criminal charges against her for recording him without his knowledge. At the time, Loomer was an honors student in her senior year and the president of Barry University's Young Republicans Club. According to a Hillary Clinton campaign official, Loomer and two other women posing as Clinton supporters attempted to entrap campaign workers into accepting illegal cash donations in July 2015. The official said the campaign had complied with the law. On November 8, 2016, the day of the 2016 U.S. presidential election, Loomer, as part of a Project Veritas stunt, went to a polling station dressed in a burqa and asked for a ballot under the name of Huma Abedin. On June 10, 2017, she gave a speech to a crowd of anti-Sharia marchers in New York City organized by ACT for America and condemned liberals who aligned themselves with Sharia law. She put a burqa on the Fearless Girl statue at Bowling Green in Lower Manhattan. A few days later, Loomer left Project Veritas for the Canadian far-right website The Rebel Media. Julius Caesar play protest. Her first stunt for Rebel Media was on June 16, 2017, when she disrupted a Shakespeare in the Park presentation of Julius Caesar in New York City, by walking on stage during the live performance shortly after the title character was assassinated. The Delacorte theater production reimagined Julius Caesar as Donald Trump with a Slovenian-accented actress as his wife, Calpurnia. Before being escorted off stage by security, Loomer shouted, "This is violence against Donald Trump. Stop the normalization of political violence against the right. This is unacceptable." Loomer was arrested for disorderly conduct and criminal trespassing. Earlier in the week, performances of the play had elicited criticism for depicting women and minorities perpetrating the violent assassination of Trump as U.S. president. The Public Theater New York responded by saying although they are champions of the First Amendment, the disruption was caused by social media. On June 19, Alyssa Rosenberg of The Washington Post wrote that she did not believe Loomer was genuinely offended by the play, but was looking for attention and to collect a $1,000 bounty that alt-right social media personality Mike Cernovich had offered to anyone who disrupted the production. Appearing on the Fox News program Hannity a few days after her arrest, Loomer said she knew that disrupting the play would result in criminal charges against her. During the interview, she objected to the depiction of Caesar in the play and accused the left of systematically and programmatically using free expression as a pretext to incite violence. A Free Laura website, soliciting donations for her arrest, had been purchased by Loomer's employer, Rebel Media owner Ezra Levant, 6 hours before the play started. Loomer also promoted a crowdfunding page for donations, which received $12,385 from 241 contributors, more money than the normal penalties for the charges she was facing. In August 2017, she was one of several counter-jihad activists who were appointed Shillman Fellows, with Robert J. Shillman contributing to her salary. In September 2017, after 3 months, she resigned from Rebel Media. Since then, she has occasionally reported for the American far-right conspiracy theory and fake news website InfoWars, as well as the Geller Report and the American Freedom Defense Initiative. 2019. On January 14, 2019, Loomer convinced several men she met in a Home Depot parking lot, who she claimed were undocumented, to jump the fence with her at Nancy Pelosi's Napa, California, home. The group set up a tent on Pelosi's lawn to protest immigration before being removed by police. They were not arrested. A few days later, Loomer attempted to interrupt a speaker at the 2019 Women's March in Washington, D.C., appearing on stage to call the Women's March a Nazi organization. As she was escorted off by security, she shouted, "What about the Jews?" On January 30, 2019, Loomer and others jumped the wall surrounding the California governor's mansion in Sacramento. They wore Mexican serapes and sombreros, with one wearing a large false mustache, and said they were protesting Governor Gavin Newsom's stance on immigration. They were arrested, given citations, and released within a few hours. Later that day, the group provoked a confrontation outside a Mexican restaurant in downtown Sacramento, live streaming the event. 2024. Loomer continued to advocate for the presidential candidacy of Donald Trump in 2024, telling The Washington Post, "I'm happy to dedicate all my time to helping Trump, because if Trump doesn't get back in, I don't have anything." Loomer was brought as a guest by Trump to Philadelphia, where he engaged in the September 10 presidential debate with opponent Kamala Harris. The following day, Loomer attended events alongside Trump commemorating the September 11 attacks. Loomer had previously endorsed claims that 9/11 was an inside job. According to anonymous sources on the Trump campaign, Loomer reportedly influenced Trump to publicly endorse various false conspiracy theories, including the claim that Kamala Harris hid her black heritage and the claim that Haitian immigrants were eating other people's household pets in Ohio. Loomer also posted a tweet referencing stereotypes of Indians, saying that if Harris, who is half Indian, were elected president, the White House will smell like curry and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center. Marjorie Taylor Greene, a far-right member of the United States House of Representatives, condemned this remark as appalling and extremely racist. As part of a promotional deal for the pet food brand Positive on her Rumble channel, Loomer filmed herself eating dog food. Conspiracy theories and misinformation. Loomer has promulgated various conspiracy theories. She has falsely claimed that school shootings in February 2018 in Parkland, Florida, and in May 2018 in Santa Fe, Texas, were staged, and that the perpetrator of the 2017 Las Vegas shootings was affiliated with ISIS. Loomer claimed on Twitter that crisis actors were used for the Santa Fe school shooting, prompting concerns about the amplification of misleading information and conspiracy theories by troll farms and social bots. In July 2018, Loomer said that a man arrested in South Dakota with bomb-making equipment and illegal weapons had been a leftist Antifa terrorist. According to the man's social media activity at the time, and per his brother, he was a conservative who despised liberals and Antifa. During the October 2018 United States mail bombing attempts, Loomer falsely said that the bombing attacks were a false flag operation orchestrated by Democrats. Loomer supported Trump in the 2024 Republican Party presidential primaries. She accused Casey DeSantis, wife of competing presidential candidate Ron DeSantis, of exaggerating her bout with breast cancer to boost her husband's presidential campaign. Following the 2023 Hamas-led attack on Israel, Loomer and other right-wing influencers amplified a false story claiming that October 13, 2023 was to be a global day of jihad. A story which motivated a 71-year-old landlord in Illinois to allegedly attempt murder on a Muslim tenant and stab to death her 6-year-old son. After a fatal car crash in Long Beach on October 14, Loomer said that the crash was Islamic terrorism, claiming that police had a gag order. Police, however, elaborated that the crash, while intentional, was not an act of terrorism, nor related to the Middle East. In November 2023, Loomer was part of a study by the Atlantic Council, analyzed by Bloomberg, of community notes on X social network, formerly Twitter, regarding misinformation in the Israel-Hamas war. On October 12, she shared a video of a pro-Hamas caravan that had driven through London shouting racist abuse, implying the incident was recent. The video was in fact from May 2021 and police had made arrests after the incident. Loomer also tweeted false information about the 2023 Rainbow Bridge explosion in Buffalo, New York. She claimed the FBI suspected a terrorist attack and that there may be a jihad plot at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, despite the vehicle traveling on the U.S. side of the border towards Canada. Loomer falsely claimed that a winter storm that occurred before the 2024 Iowa Republican presidential caucuses was created by the American deep state using HAARP in order to benefit the electoral chances of presidential candidate Nikki Haley. In 2023 and 2024, Loomer falsely attributed social media posts to family members of judges Arthur Engoron and Juan Merchan. The two judges were overseeing court cases involving Donald Trump. Loomer inaccurately claimed these family members had called for Trump's imprisonment on social media. Loomer's misinformation was amplified by Trump to support his claims that Engoron and Merchan were biased against him. In July 2024, Loomer posted to X the lie that Joe Biden is dying and final preparations are being made for him. Campaigns for public office. 2020. Loomer lost the 2020 United States House of Representatives election in Florida's 21st congressional district to incumbent Democrat Lois Frankel. The district was heavily Democratic, and Loomer's candidacy was considered a long shot. Frankel had represented the district since 2012. Loomer defeated 5 opponents to win the Republican primary in August 2020, receiving 14,500 votes out of 34,000 cast, 43%. President Donald Trump expressed support for Loomer, tweeting after her primary win, "Great going Laura. You have a great chance against a Pelosi puppet." She also received endorsements from Florida Representative Matt Gaetz and former Trump advisor Roger Stone. The White House later downplayed Trump's support for Loomer and for congressional candidate Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying, "The president routinely congratulates people who officially get the Republican nomination for Congress, so he does that as a matter of course. He hasn't done a deep dive into the statements by these two particular women." After her primary victory, Twitter and Facebook reiterated that they would not unban her. 2022. In September 2021, Loomer announced her candidacy for Florida's 11th district in 2022. She tried to unseat Republican Representative Daniel Webster in the primary election. Loomer had initially declared her intent to run again in the 21st district. Backed by the group American Liberty Fund, Loomer was endorsed by Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar, as well as Roger Stone and Michael Flynn. She lost the primary election on August 23, 2022, with 44.2% to Webster's 51.1%, but refused to concede. In an election night speech, Loomer said, "I'm not conceding because I'm a winner. The reality is our Republican Party is broken to its core." Loomer railed against unspecified voter fraud and big tech election interference. Bans and removals. Loomer has been banned from numerous social media platforms, payment processors, and vehicles for hire and food delivery mobile apps for various reasons, including violating policies on hate speech and posting misinformation. She has also been banned and removed from events, and had press credentials revoked, for harassment and causing disturbances. From apps and online platforms. Blogging platform Medium banned Loomer in February 2017, after expanding its platform policies to ban posting disinformation and expanding its policies against hate speech. Loomer was banned from both Uber and Lyft in November 2017 after a day-long anti-Muslim tweet storm, which included tweets about not being able to find a non-Muslim cab or at Uber at Lyft driver. Twitter banned Loomer in November 2018 for violating its policies against hateful conduct. After the ban, she handcuffed herself to Twitter's headquarters in New York for 2 hours before police cut through the handcuffs at her request. In February 2019, Loomer was banned from PayPal, GoFundMe, and Venmo. In response, she said that left-wing terrorists and tech tyrants were trying to shut her down, and that she would stop at nothing to make sure justice is served for the way Silicon Valley has disenfranchised me, falsely accusing me of being a white supremacist, a Nazi, anti-Muslim, a racist, a bigot, and every other smear in the book. Loomer was one of several right-wing activists banned by Facebook and Instagram in 2019 for using the platforms to post misinformation and extremism. In May 2021, she said she was banned from the social media app Clubhouse hours after joining. In December 2022, after Elon Musk bought Twitter, Loomer's previously banned Twitter account was reinstated. From events. Loomer used press credentials to attend the March 2018 trial of Noor Salman, the wife of the perpetrator of the June 2016 Orlando nightclub shooting. Her press credentials were revoked after she harassed Salman's family. She returned to the trial the next day and was removed by a U.S. Marshal. In April 2018, Loomer disrupted an event promoting James Comey's book A Higher Loyalty before being removed from the building by security. In September 2018, she briefly interrupted a House Energy and Commerce Committee hearing. Shouting from the visitor gallery, she accused Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, who was testifying before the committee, of censoring conservatives on the platform and of attempting to influence elections in favor of Democrats. Republican Representative Billy Long began a mock auction chant, pretending he was selling Loomer's mobile phone, until she was escorted out. The incident generated considerable laughter and applause from the audience. In October 2018, police escorted Loomer from a campaign event for Andrew Gillum, the Democratic nominee for governor of Florida. Loomer was banned from the 2019 Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, after aggressively confronting reporters, using her press credentials to follow them into a media-only area after they had declined to speak with her. In particular, she heckled CNN reporter Oliver Darcy with questions about internet censorship and social media bans. On June 4, 2021, Loomer again confronted Dorsey, this time at the Bitcoin 2021 conference, alleging he had censored people and interfered with elections. Loomer was removed from the event. Lawsuits. In 2018, after Loomer was banned by various social media companies, she sued against Twitter, Apple, Facebook, and Google. The lawsuit, in which she was represented by right-wing activist lawyer Larry Klayman, alleged that the platforms had collaborated to suppress conservative speech. The district court dismissed the case, and the U.S. Court of Appeals upheld the dismissal. The courts held that social media companies cannot violate the First Amendment because they are not governmental bodies. In 2021, the Supreme Court denied Loomer's petition to hear the case. After Twitter banned Loomer in 2018, she and her company Illuminate Media sued the Council on American-Islamic Relations, CAIR, claiming it had conspired with Twitter to ban her. The lawsuit was thrown out after Nathan Bernard, known for pranking prominent alt-right personalities, admitted he had fabricated the rumor that CAIR was behind the ban. In 2020, Loomer lost an appeal of the case, with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit ruling that Loomer and Illuminate offer nothing beyond vague speculation to indicate that CAIR Florida was involved in the alleged conspiracy. In 2021, a U.S. magistrate judge ordered Loomer to reimburse more than $120,000 in attorney's fees to CAIR. In 2019, Loomer filed an unsuccessful lawsuit against U.S. Representative Rashida Tlaib, alleging that during the disruption of an August 2018 campaign event by Loomer and others, Tlaib, violently grabbed Loomer's cell phone while Loomer was questioning her about foreign policy. The Minneapolis Star-Tribune reported that the video of the incident includes audio of Loomer asking Tlaib if she was willing to admit that Hamas is a terrorist organization. In 2022, Loomer again sued Facebook and Twitter, alleging their anti-hate speech policies constitute racketeering. This suit was also dismissed, on grounds of both res judicata and Section 230. Views. Loomer has been described by various sources as far-right, a white nationalist, as well as alt-right, and alt-light, and has described herself as a proud Islamophobe and white nationalist. Cultural critic James Wolcott called her a raging zealot, intent on becoming the agent provocateur. Loomer has denounced the alt-right and publicly repudiated white supremacist Richard B. Spencer, who coined the term, and refused to share a stage with him. She received anti-Semitic threats and harassment from the alt-right after this dispute. However, Loomer has indicated she supports white nationalism, claiming it is distinct from white supremacy, and that white nationalists need effective leaders, people who aren't Richard Spencer, people who aren't James Alsop, to effectively convey that message. She is also reportedly close to white nationalist Nick Fuentes, toasting with him for the hostile takeover of the Republican Party. Donald Trump, who the New York Times reported wanted to hire Loomer for a campaign role, has described her as very opinionated, while U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has claimed she is mentally unstable and a documented liar, alleging that she tried to get hired for the Kanye 2024 campaign. Loomer and Greene have shared heated arguments online, with Loomer claiming Greene is no longer an ally to America First, as well as questioning her Christianity, loyalty to Donald Trump, and lack of criticism of rival presidential candidate Ron DeSantis. Trump's aides are said to have concerns over Loomer's inflammatory statements and support for the Republican Party's fringes. Loomer considers herself a Trump loyalist, and has described DeSantis as a tyrant, personally attacking him online. Loomer also found an ally in Donald Trump Jr., who said, "I'd love to see her as press secretary just to watch DC just explode." Anti-Muslim. On November 1, 2017, the day after a terrorist attack in New York City, Loomer tweeted that she was late to a conference because she could not find a non-Muslim cab or an Uber at Lyft driver. After it became known that the suspect in the attack was a former driver for Uber, she called for the creation of a new ride-sharing company that did not employ Muslims. Her day-long tweet storm blamed all Muslims for the activities of radical Islamists such as ISIL. Subsequently, both Uber and Lyft announced that she had violated their guidelines and was banned from using their services. She described herself on Twitter at the time as a #proud Islamophobe, and called for a complete and permanent ban on Muslims entering the United States. In August 2018, Loomer disrupted a congressional campaign event for Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar, which Rashida Tlaib attended. Loomer shouted questions that implied that Tlaib was anti-Semitic. In November of that year, Twitter banned Loomer from its platform for violating its rules against hateful behavior. According to Loomer, she was banned for a tweet about Omar in which Loomer called her anti-Jewish, and a member of a religion in which homosexuals are oppressed, and women are abused, and forced to wear the hijab. A week after the ban, she handcuffed herself to a door at Twitter's New York City headquarters in protest while wearing a yellow Jude patch. After approximately 2 hours, police removed the handcuffs with a bolt cutter at her request. Loomer was not arrested. In February 2019, Loomer traveled to Minnesota with Jacob Wohl, a right-wing perpetrator of internet fraud, and Ali Alexander, a far-right activist. The group said they were investigating whether Omar had married her brother so that he could obtain U.S. citizenship, a baseless rumor that had circulated in Minnesota politics since 2016. Wohl, Loomer, and Alexander were unable to find any immigration irregularities by Omar. A few weeks later, in March 2019, Wohl and Loomer were ejected from the 2019 CPAC when they attempted to present evidence from their trip to Minnesota. Loomer had previously accosted Omar with the same unsubstantiated allegations at the August 2018 Omar campaign event, the one attended by Tlaib. In 2019, Loomer uploaded a video to Instagram about Omar, blaming her and all Muslims for the September 11th attacks and asserting that Muslims should not even be allowed to seek positions of political office in this country. Right-Wing Watch reported in February 2019 that donations solicited by Loomer were going to the address of the United West, an organization the Southern Poverty Law Center lists as an anti-Muslim hate group. At that time, PayPal banned Loomer from any further use of their service. The Council on American Islamic Relations, a Muslim civil rights organization, has described the United West as Islamophobic. In 2019, following the white supremacist terrorist attack that killed 51 people at 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, Loomer wrote on the platform Telegram, "Nobody cares about Christchurch. I especially don't." Loomer has described Islam as cancer, and Muslims as savages. White nationalism. Loomer has described herself as a nationalist, and called immigrants who refuse to assimilate a threat to American heritage. In response to a news story about the drowning of 2,000 migrants in the Mediterranean Sea, Loomer expressed her approval of the migrant deaths, tweeting, "Good. Here's to 2,000 more." According to Media Matters, Loomer has endorsed the white nationalist Great Replacement theory, accusing the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society of facilitating the invasion of America, and has stated that so many rich Jews have a fixation on trying to destroy America. Asked in 2017 by Haaretz about her views as a Jew participating in an anti-Sharia event where the neo-Nazi group Identity Europa was visibly present, Loomer replied, "Oh, this is like an identitarian group. I'm not totally familiar, but I know they believe in preserving white European culture. There is nothing wrong with that, and they are nationalist." Loomer has described herself as pro-white nationalism. Loomer called into an InfoWars interview with Kanye West to express her support for West's right to free speech, declaring herself sympathetic to West. Earlier in the interview, West had praised Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. In response to Loomer's defense of him, West told Loomer, "I love you." In 2022, Loomer spoke at the annual conference of white supremacist publication American Renaissance. She has additionally attended events with white supremacist Nick Fuentes, and has spoken at Fuentes' white nationalist gathering AFPAC. In 2017, Loomer claimed to be dating alt-right activist Tim Guionnet, who had tweeted a photoshopped picture of Loomer being executed inside a gas chamber, referencing the killing of Jews during the Holocaust. Guionnet denied that the pair were dating. Loomer has also expressed support for Christian nationalism. In an interview, Loomer said, in reference to birthright citizenship, "I think you can only serve in office if you were actually born in this country. Not a birthright citizen anchor baby like Nikki Haley, but I don't want people like that in our country, let alone in our Congress." COVID-19. Loomer downplayed the severity of COVID-19, writing in December 2020, "I hope I get COVID just so I can prove to people I've had bouts of food poisoning that are more serious and life-threatening than a hyped-up virus." In September 2021, she said she had become ill with the disease and was battling it with a variety of preparations, including some shown to be ineffective. She announced via Telegram that she was in great pain and requested that people pray for her. After contracting the disease, Loomer continued to maintain that COVID-19 vaccines are unsafe and ineffective, and said she would refuse to get one in the future. Democrats. According to Media Matters, Loomer has said that, "If you don't vote for Donald Trump, then you just hate this country." Loomer claims that the Democratic Party is supportive of Jews getting wiped off the face of the earth, and that Jews who vote for Democrats might as well just go put yourself in a gas chamber yourself if this is how you're gonna behave. During an interview with Tim Pool, after Pool suggested Donald Trump should make lists of Democrats who should be put in jail, Loomer said that Trump should have these Democrats executed for treason. After the death of U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Loomer called Jackson Lee a ghetto bitch, and one of the most low IQ members of Congress. Loomer referred to African American Democratic elected officials Kamala Harris, Fani Willis, and Letitia James as Dei Shaniquas. Notes.